Good day, everybody. Welcome back for another episode of Disillusioned Plays Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Trials and Tribulations. On the last episode, we spent a lot of time fumbling about trying to figure out how to get the game to allow us to say what we wanted to say. Basically, Luke Atmey had been brought back in from his other trial, and we were trying to convince the jury that he was in fact the murderer of the guy whose name I suddenly can't think of.
Cain Bullard.
Thank you,
Cain
Sarah.
Bullard.
Thank you very much. I'm thinking like Kenji Kondo or something.
Kenji Kondo!
I think it's an actual person, isn't it? Or is it Koji Kondo or something? Is he like a composer or something?
Your mind is a
Anyway.
steel trap, Pete.
Yep. My mind is quite literally like I want to say like a sieve, but it's got absolutely like no way of catching any information. It just falls straight through. So yes, and we basically knew exactly what we needed to say, but the game would not give us the prompts to do it.
We just didn't do it in the right order.
And we have now found out what we need to do it. And yes, we were right. Kinda.
Yeah.
We'll get there. We'll get there. But first off, let's introduce ourselves. So in case this is your first time listening, I'm Pete.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm Taylor.
Cool. So, rather than Sarah just sit here and explain it, why don't we kind of jump in and she can talk us through it as we go even. So,
Okay.
let's click continue. Let's go in. So, Sarah,
Let us cease the faffing about.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning.
So,
Because we had the right premise. We knew what we needed to do. We had an idea of like what sort of like
we need to basically point out
what
the
proof
fact
we needed to
we
do.
need to point out that the picture that he's trying to suggest, it proves that he stole the mask at the time, was actually taken at a different time because the statue of Amy Faye was not present in the photo where it should have been because oh god, what's a frickin' name? God, me and names, because Adrian, thank you, Adrian told us that after messing up after breaking the jar and everything, that the big paint splodge on the floor was obviously an eyesore, so she moved the statue over the top of it so that no one would see it on the night of the crime.
Yeah.
But, as we've all seen in the photograph, there is no statue there. And yet, there is also quite clearly a square recession in the paint that suggests that there would be a statue there. Which...
Or at least something there.
Yes.
Maybe a box.
Oh, yes,
shape.
sorry, yes, a box there. Yes, sorry, no, that was, I'm getting mistaken. Yes, sorry, there would be a box shape there, but the statue isn't covering the paint. The fact that we can see the paint suggests that it was at a different time. Anyway.
The annoying thing with this
Is
because when we pressed the statements, we did it backwards.
Yes.
And
Pete's just done it backwards again.
yeah, we activated one of the points that we needed to do.
We needed to basically trigger two different...
Yeah, we had to press on statement 2 and 4. And then we could press on 3. And I don't think actually we went back to that. And that's what we needed to go, right, okay, this is what it is. And then our theory was right.
Yeah,
we just didn't get the prompt from the game because Ace Attorney.
Absolutely
So let's
not...
go ahead and press them on.
Yeah. Absolutely not renowned for this sort of thing. So actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try on number 3 anyway, just to see if we've already triggered the other two from when we saved it.
said the thing that we needed to, so
well, okay,
hopefully...
now actually, now that you mention it, screw it. Let's just do it as we were supposed
just
to.
recap
So
again?
we'll do, so number 2. So,
Do you want me to read this out again, or are we just going to...
yeah, no, good,
Yeah,
no,
we'll
let's
just
do it properly.
fresh.
Okay. I believe Adrian Andrews hired you at one point. That's right. That was over 20 days ago, if I'm not mistaken. You sent the calling card to Lordly Taylor 10 days before the heist. That would mean you sent out the card after you began your security watch, right? Indeed. There was no reason why I couldn't do both jobs at once. It was the perfect opportunity to steal my latest target.
I see. You truly are evil, aren't you?
Yes, evil with a capital E, capital Vil. is what I am.
Yeah.
Hey, Nick, isn't there something odd about this?
Hmm?
Detective Atmey was always proud of his ace detective skills, right? But if the urn was stolen from Lordly Taylor while he was the only one watching it, he'd have no way to maintain his perfect ace detective persona.
You know, that's true. It is kind of odd.
So that was the first one.
Okay.
So we press
Then-
on 3.
No, that's the
Then-
second
No,
one.
no. Sorry, yeah,
No,
Oh,
we need
yes.
to press on 4.
Oh,
I meant,
four, yeah,
that
sorry.
was the first point. So that
Yeah.
was, so press on number 2. Now we press on the 4th statement.
Yep.
About the camera that took this photograph. Oh, come now. It's all too clear what you're thinking. Huh? You think I altered the timestamp on the photograph, don't you?
I'm afraid that's impossible. The camera was set up by Lordly Taylor, and on top of that, it was Lordly Taylor's staff that printed that picture's data. Unfortunately for the defense, there's no way that picture could have been altered. There's no way that picture could have been altered. I
Because
see.
we don't have Photoshop.
We don't have Photoshop in this day and age.
We just have paint.
Microsoft Paint. And if you've seen anybody try and manipulate a photo in that thing, then good luck to them. Anyway.
What about that one guy?
Oh, Jim will paint
Yeah,
it.
but he doesn't manipulate photos. I see.
It looks like I'd better find something else that could be suspicious.
So, this alibi is false?
It has to be, or he couldn't have killed Mr. Bullard at KB Security.
But I'm not really spotting anything unusual.
There are 2 possibilities. Either the mask stars a mask and the photo is a fake, or the photo itself is. Also,
So
are you
now-
making fun of the way I say suspicious?
Okay, now we press on 3.
Yes. And this will
Should
allow us to
get
actually
right.
to progress.
So by photograph, you mean this piece of evidence here. Is that correct? Indeed it is. That is it. The very thing that proves I committed the crime. The very thing that proves you committed the crime.
It's almost like you
Yes,
wanted
that's
it
what
to
I
happen.
said.
Surely you even understand by now.
Lordly Taylor provided that camera. There's no way I could have tampered with it. That means I could not. Okay, so this didn't pop up before. That means I could not have killed Kane Bullard. Unless I had an accomplice. Come on, think long and hard about that night. The basement warehouse in this picture that supposedly captures it. It's got to be here. Isn't there something funny about this picture?
You bet your
Yes.
ass there is.
That was what we were saying before!
Yeah.
So now we're all
Are
caught up.
you
Yeah.
implying that this picture is a fake? You bet I am. There's definitely something strange about this picture. We took a look around the basement warehouse that night, before the theft took place.
I'm just going to do a safety save. I mean, I know that we're obviously... We've progressed, but we can still present the wrong shit.
And there's something in this photo that doesn't match my memory of that night.
Very well. Then let's hear what you have to say.
What,
about this photo?
Point to the part of the photo that has the suspicious thing.
Thank you. What about this photo do you find funny? Wink.
The funny part is right here.
Why, this is a blood stain!
No.
Ah,
good.
blood! Now this case is getting interesting!
What?
Not exactly. This stain is actually pink paint.
Unless you're playing the Danganronpa
That's what I was
franchise,
about to say.
in which case the blood actually is hot pink. So Yeah, so obviously the judge has come off. Has quickly come off from that set.
Yeah, he's just put his PS Vita away.
He's slipped out of his Monokuma outfit, and now he's come over and he's back to dress back up as the judge, and he's ready to continue.
Good morning.
That's why he's always wants to. That's why he wants to end the cases as promptly as possible.
That's right.
Yeah.
He needs to go back to torturing all the high school students. Anyway. Oh, just paint, and peach-colored at that.
From blood to peaches. The judge sure loves going on his wild tangents.
You bet I do.
Also, peaches, I mean, I guess they're kind of pink, but the problem with this photograph is not the paint. The problem is when you consider the layout of the basement warehouse. It turns out that something that should be there is nowhere to be seen.
Oh, well, Mr. Wright, what is supposed to be in this picture instead of the paint stains?
A statue.
The supervisor of the treasure exhibit stated the following.
Well, there's a good reason for that. On the day of the crime, around noon, that golden statue just happened to arrive from the mountain training hall. I realized that the statue would be the perfect size for covering out the paint stains. That's why I put it where you first saw it.
I myself was there the night the theft took place and saw the statue in that spot. If this picture was truly taken on that night, then that statue should have been there.
Yeah, but why? But when I went there, But when I went there the day after the theft... I was saying it. You were just behind. But when I went there the day after the theft, that statue of the old bag was sitting in the corner.
Hey, that's Mr. Avery you're talking about. She's not an old bag.
Be quiet, child. No one asked you. Perhaps it was somehow pushed there accidentally. Or it was ghosts. Poltergeists. It rolled of its own accord. The floor perhaps was not quite level.
This is funny. So we've made jokes before because if you look at the judge, the picture of the judge, he's an absolute unit. He is a
Yes.
a large
He's a small
man.
boy. He's a wide boy.
Your Honor, this statue is slightly larger than yourself and quite heavy. It would take more than an accidental push to move it that distance.
Are you implying that I am obese?
Mr. Wright?
How dare you.
Rotund? Are you saying I resemble Santa Claus?
No, I'm saying you more resemble Kylo Ren. With this
Swallow
very
like
wide
Solo.
chest. Swallow like Solo. Sorry.
Any get swallow.
Pop culture references that are only a couple years out of date.
Yeah, I know.
Woo! Go us, we're so with the time.
Anyway. Ha!
MySpace!
MySpace.
In that case, can you prove it? Can you give us the rhyme and reason as to why that statue was moved that night?
Can you do it, Nick?
Never mind who moved it. The real question is, why did they move it?
Well, Mr. Wright, I hope you are prepared with your answer. Now then, who was the one who moved the golden statue on the night of the crime?
Do you suppose that Luke ran headlong into the statue, resulting in the Shichishito being bent, getting knocked out of her hands, and pushing it backwards?
I think it's... My thing is, I think it is Luke. But if we were going on the assumption that we did last time of the fact that the photo was taken at a different time, so because obviously he couldn't be in two places at once. So he would needed to have fabricated this photo before Either before? Yeah, the statue wasn't there. So he would have to have moved it so it kind of looked like...
Well, no, the statue...
taken at the time?
No, he didn't know the statue was moved over. The statue wasn't there. When he took the photo, he wouldn't know that the statue was going to be moved over at all, would he? That's why it's like this, because if he knew that Adrian was going to move the statue over, he'd have brought it over. The question is, so the next morning, the statue had been moved back across. So the question is, why?
So here's, again, the timeline is, most likely this picture was taken like 1 or 2 weeks ago, right after Adrian had gotten the urn in a shipment, then tripped over it, knocked the paint can over, and got it marked up with the paints. And then presumably after that, at some point, Luke saw the urn, which then led him to making the note that said... It was a speckled urn, not whatever, the urn that it was, the urn without the paint on it. Presumably he called it speckled because the paint was on it. So that happened a couple of weeks ago. Then, the night of the theft, or the supposed theft, or the day of, Adrian had moved the statue to cover the stain because the statue had been delivered that day. Then, after that night, when the urn was supposedly stolen, the statue was then pushed back. The sword that it was holding was gone, which was supposedly used to bash Luke over the back of the head. So it got dented somehow, and got knocked out of her hand somehow.
I was going to say, so basically, it doesn't... The whole when the picture was taken, like, the times doesn't really matter as long as it was before the night. It was obviously that. But what I was going to say is, maybe Luke did move it out the way, because obviously Luke knows what the picture looks like. And then when he came down, after, like, on the night of the crime, maybe afterward, he must have come back. I'm presuming he'll have come back and seen that the statue was over the top of the stain and gone, oh crap, that's not what the picture should have taken. The picture would have taken it with the paint there. I'd best move the statue back so that it adds up later on. And just hope that nobody saw it.
Again, he could have done the murder. I still think that, because they made the thing about him being able to manipulate some data somewhere. Sure that's got to come into it.
I don't know, but
alternatively, it was still Luke, but in order to make it look like he'd gotten hit with the Shichishito, he actually grabbed the sword, whacked the statue with it.
Yeah, smacked something with it to bend it.
Yeah, so he smacked the statue with it, which then forced it backwards.
Yeah.
So this photo needed to look like the
But yeah, I think the thing is that he'd already taken this photo in advance, and when he saw the scene on the day, he was like, oh crap, the statue's there, that means the picture isn't going to make sense. It's going to be quite clear that it's the wrong date. Because, yes, the picture has the time on it, but it doesn't have the date on it. So he moved the statue back to make sure that it looked like it would be in the picture. Yeah. Or how it would have been in the picture. And just, I guess, hoped that nobody else had been down there and seen it. Not counting on the fact that we, Team Nick...
Team Justice.
...had been down there.
Yeah.
So
it's
regardless, I believe it was Luke, yeah.
Yeah.
The one who moved the statue is none other than Luke Atmey. Come now, Sir Lawyer. There you go again on one of your strange delusions.
Mr. Wright, what basis do you have for your strange delusions?
It's very simple. The witness was the only one in the basement warehouse that night. That is indeed very simple. However, why would I want to move a heavy golden statue? The reason for moving the golden statue. Here's where our battle really begins, and here's where we should probably put a safety save.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. But I'm 100% sure that what we've just, debated is the answer. Well, Mr. Wright, what reason did the witness have to move the statue? That statue?
The reason can be found here in this photograph.
And presumably it's the same photograph.
Huh?
Yep.
Luke Atmey, you pretended to be Mask Star Damask to create an alibi by showing you were
at Lordly Taylor that night. But this photograph contains a single, fatal flaw. If the statue had been there, your lie would have been exposed like cheap film at a drugstore. Wow.
Wow. Jeez.
That is an old reference.
Yeah, is that like?
All right,
it's
so Pete's got it
expensive
bang
to do
on
it
then.
now.
That is why you had to move the statue.
Oh, yeah. A single fatal flaw? Interesting theory. Please, enlighten us. Just where in this picture does this lie exist?
The
I mean,
time
the
frame.
stain.
Well, I guess it's got to be the... Wait, hang on. The lie?
The time frame. The time.
No. No, because the time... It could have still taken it
No,
at that
'cause
time.
Because the statue would have been there, or should have been there. So if you
Yeah.
pushed it backwards, it wouldn't be covering the stain anymore. So then it looks like it's out of frame. The reason that the statue wasn't there was because it was out of frame. But as Pete said, he was counting on us not having been down there to see that it was there. The lie in this photo is somewhere around here.
Oh, wait. Jump into
Oh,
conclusions
for
again.
God's sake.
I think you need to take a gander in your local mirror. Oh,
As the
shit.
Yiddish proverb goes...
Okay, hang on.
Oh, I suppose I won't finish my proverb.
Well, Mr. Wright,
Find that.
what reason did the witness have to move the statue?
Blah, 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 blah,
Reason
blah.
can be found in the photograph.
And the photograph.
Well, is it the box?
Maybe it is the timestamp. Well, maybe it is the...
Okay. Okay. Well, maybe Sarah was right. Oh. Okay, well done, Sarah.
Naturally,
one
the
believes
lie
me.
in this photo... If you're quite finished, naturally, the lie in this photo is the timestamp.
Well, what do you mean? What do you mean?
I'll tell you exactly what I mean. Right now, I'm in the process of being about to tell you. On the night in question, Luke Atmey went to KB Security and murdered Kane Bullard. Therefore, it's obvious. It would have been impossible for him to have been at Lordly Taylor at this time.
But what has that... Sorry, but what does that have to do with the statue being moved?
Remember, if you will, Your Honor, I know it's hard for you, but try. When was this statue placed besides the where... Placed besides? That's wrong.
Well... The statue was taken down to the... Sorry, the statue was taken down to the warehouse on the day of the crime. And it was placed there in order to cover up the paint. It was placed there.
Exactly. Luke Atmey had already decided on the time when he was going to kill the victim. And so, in order to create an alibi for that time, he took this picture days before the murder took place.
What in the...
Of course, the statue hadn't yet been brought down to the basement warehouse yet.
Ah! I see.
I feel like to imagine the judge is just pretending to understand and is just kind of making noises of affirmation and hopes that...
Okay, so...
Yes, go. I see where you're going, but go ahead and continue for the benefit of the other people.
For the benefit of the doubt,
who
please
are not
continue.
me.
For the benefit of the doubt, please continue to explain it all in full, great detail.
So, on the day of the crime, Mr. Atmey must have been quite nervous. As nervous as a...
Okay. Okay. Okay.
As nervous as a long-tailed... I'm sorry. As nervous as a long-tailed cat in a rocking chair factory. So to speak.
Mr. Wright.
Except no one
have
speaks
you-
like that, but...
Mr. Wright, have you been on the funny beans today? The funny brew?
Funny brew.
It's like first the cheap
batshit-
film in a drugstore,
the
and now a
batshit blend.
long-tailed cat in a rocking chair
He's been
factory.
he's been
long-
He's been on the bullshit
he's
blend.
been on the GODOT blend 420.
Yeah. Jeez. Anyway,
Why? Because something that wasn't supposed to be there had been brought down and placed where it wasn't supposed to be. And that is why Luke Atmey had to move the statue on the night of the murder. He did it to make the room match with the way it had been in his photo.
Da-da-da-da.
Go!
Yeah, because if the statue had stayed there, then his photo that
It would have been like,
Yeah,
well, why
so-
isn't this in
yeah.
the frame
That's what-
then? Yeah.
That's what we were saying.
Yeah, that's where I was going with it. That's why I said the timestamp.
Order, order! Mr. Atmey, is this true?
No, it isn't. One moment, Your Honor. Have you forgotten this? The dot matrix printer sheet?
What's that? I can't quite see it from over there.
The data for the basement warehouse computer. According to this, the camera did indeed go off on the night of the crime.
But you can manipulate the data on
Wasn't
the
he
computer.
was deleting the photos, wasn't he, or something? Wasn't there something where he was deleting
Yeah, it's like he
pictures?
was deleting them if they weren't interesting or something. It's
Yeah.
true that the camera had been set up by the Lordly Taylor staff. However, the program used to manage that data was yours. That alone would have allowed you to tamper with the data. Ah!
Called it.
Order, order! Mr. Godot, what is the meaning of this?
Why is he asking him?
Yeah.
Godot, I warned you about making me wait. Now, put the coffee down! Now! It's a little reference there. My 11th cup.
Jeez.
I've promised to drink no more than 17 during a trial. Which means I'm still good till the last drop. However, the defense has a very good point. Good point? So what? We are all but travelers on the road of infinite points.
I think he's got his points mixed up with his other points.
So you say this photograph was taken ahead of time? And that the statue was moved in order to make it match? That's a very interesting idea. However, there's one point that can't be denied.
Which is...
Then it's only a possibility. Men that are trapped by the chains of maybe can never reach their dreams. That's very true.
No way! Don't fall for that, Your Honor!
Hey, Mr. Damask. Yes?
I imagine Ron in the audience like,
He's like, that's actually me.
Nobody asked you, boy.
if there's no funny business in your actions as Mask Star Damask, there should be no problem with you telling us your strategy. So, let's hear it. Yes, please provide this court with your testimony now about your plan to steal the sacred urn.
With pleasure.
Like,
sir.
Sure,
Yes.
why not?
This is exactly what I was hoping for. Look at my face. Do I look like a scared rabbit?
Do I look like a troubled man?
No. Do I look like a deer caught in headlights? No. On the contrary, I am the deer stalker. With the double
I
barrel
am not the
pointed
deer.
right in
I am the car.
Yes, I am the double barrel pointed square in the face of justice. I don't know where this is going.
I first received the request from Lordly Taylor about 20 days ago. They said, "Oh, Mr. Ace Detective, who was the best in all the world at what you do, would you please do us the kind honor of protecting our valuables?" I mean, the urn was placed in a box and... Zvari? It was then sent to the warehouse. Hence, I was actually unable to see the urn for myself until the day of the crime.
So he wouldn't know it was speckled?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Implies it, yes.
I knew it was an extremely valuable treasure, so I sent my... Aha! He couldn't have sent the card 10 days beforehand because he wouldn't have known what it looked like.
Yeah.
He called it speckled, which means he had to have sent it on the day he opened it.
Yep. Yeah, because it would have just, if it'd have just looked like a broken
He looked at it
urn
beforehand.
Yeah, it would have been covered in paint. Which gives it the appearance
Adrian
of
dropped the
being
box
speckled.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
When did she open it, though? It would have been covered in paint, though, wouldn't it?
So I knew it was an extremely valuable treasure, so I sent my card 10 days beforehand. But he said he didn't see the urn until, like, the day of the crime.
Oh,
Right?
okay. Right, so sorry, that's implying that he did see it. Sorry, my mistake, yes.
No, it's implying that he couldn't have sent the card 10 days beforehand, because if he only saw it on the day of the crime, so if he had seen it before Adrian had dropped it, he wouldn't have left the calling card saying that it was speckled, because it wasn't speckled until Adrian had dropped it.
Yeah.
Therefore, if he didn't see it until the day of the crime...
But no,
Wait.
no. Adrian dropped it 2 weeks ago.
No, but yeah. Yeah, but no.
If Adrian dropped it 2 weeks ago, so he saw it before the 10 days.
Oh, he's implying he didn't see that urn until the night of the crime. Which means, how could he have put in his calling card that it's speckled? Because if he didn't see it, he wouldn't know, would he?
He wouldn't have known it was speckled.
Okay.
Because it was obviously just broken before. Adrian dropped it.
I may be a dum-dum. Because, he
Right, because he would have had to open the box.
Yeah, and he would have
He would have had to open the box to see that it was speckled, but he didn't open the box until the day of the crime.
He's trying to say that he didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which means that he doesn't know that it was supposed to look like this. I
No.
guess. And probably
Yes.
still doesn't know.
Yeah. And he took
I
the
then handled security by myself to ensure that my crime would go smoothly. At last, I held the urn in my hand. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
I held the urn in my hands for the first time at 1 a.m. on October 12th.
That's pretty much all the stuff we've heard before, isn't it?
Yeah, but we will find the truth hidden in the nuggets of new information he gave.
Witness, make sure that you're sure there are no mistakes this time.
Sorry. That wasn't really an answer, but okay.
Very well then. Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination.
It seems like there's a few statements you can present. I would say the calling card is the evidence here. Because it said it specifically states it's speckled in the calling
Well, I feel
card.
like, to be honest, the last one. Oh, damn
Yeah,
it.
there does seem like multiple opportunities though, because like some of them make sense, but yeah, the last one for sure.
I'm gonna go to the last one.
Okay.
Because yeah, it's
So I'm gonna
the
just,
first time, so yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna straight up just be like, right.
So wait, no, hold up. It's gotta be when he said he sent the calling card, right?
No, because we present the calling card when he says that he held it for the first time on this day.
Yeah, because this would work because yeah, he's saying the urn in my hands for the first time, but in here it says it's speckled.
Yeah, so he would.
So it's obviously not the first time.
Yeah, okay.
Like it makes. I don't know. We'll see. Oh,
Yep, there it is. Mr. Atmey, if you really are Mask Star Damask, then you also wrote this calling card, correct? But of course.
Is there a problem with that calling card?
Allow me to read a passage from the calling card that Mask Star Damask had written. Take good care of the speckled urn. Now, the speckled here surely refers to this pink pattern on the sacred urn.
Yes, that is true. But so what? So what?
Truth be told, there is no way that Mask Star Damask could have known about this pattern. What do you mean? This pink spotted pattern on the urn.
is actually nothing more than paint stains.
Paint stains?
And these stains did not appear until after the urn had been taken to Lordly Taylor.
I'm not finding this joke to be very funny, Mr. Trite.
The day that the sacred urn was taken to the warehouse, the urn was broken due to human error. Or should I say an error-prone human? Jesus, Nick.
Wow.
Due to her careless box opening technique. And that's when the pink paint got on the urn.
I mean, we've already discussed how carelessly she's opening that box.
Yeah.
You can't be serious.
And yet, this calling card clearly mentions the paint pattern. Which means...
Sorry about that, we've got a boy racer outside.
Detective Atmey had seen this urn long before the crime ever took place. In fact, he saw it when this fake photo was taken. And because this photo is a fake, your alibi for the night of the murder no longer holds water.
Like a Murloc.
Yeah.
Witness, do you have anything to say for yourself?
Sorry.
All right, that did it. He's broken.
It's not like you've ever prematurely assumed victory.
Nick, I think it's still a little early for a victory pose.
See?
No, it isn't. Huh?
Ha! It's so sad. No one has any conviction these days. Conviction, you say? Yesterday, we all decided unanimously that this man was Mask Star Damask. And now, we're calling him a murderer. You don't think we're being a tad fickle? That's a good point.
Judge, really?
No way! Don't fall for that too, Your Honor!
You say that Luke Atmey was the one who killed Cain Bullock. Then let me ask you this. Why would he do that?
An excellent point. Oh, crap.
Yeah.
Motive, Mr. Wright, motive. Might you my merry murderous motive manifest?
But,
Oh, so did Cain
yeah, it's
Bullard's...
gotta be the blackmail letter, because it's the red diamond. Yeah.
So yeah, KB Security, they could have had something on Atmey.
Yeah.
They could have, like, been looking into it.
They could have been looking into him. It threatened his ace detective persona, but he left that blackmail note in Ron's room to make him go so that he could frame him.
Yeah.
And
I'm
end
not
there
sure
is
what-
that he mentioned that it was a red diamond ring specifically.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the, if you don't want your true identity revealed to the world, though. If this is directed at Atmey, what's his true identity?
That he's a fake.
Either Mask Star Damask or a fraud. Like he's not actually an ace detective.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
He
get
could
it.
just be posing as one.
Yeah.
And they could have easily have looked into him because there's that newspaper clipping, isn't there? And isn't he at the KB Security building because Ron's in it? He's the guard in the picture. So he, like,
Well,
they
and
could have had some
presumably
dirt on him.
Atmey figured out what Ron was doing, and then used Ron to steal the rest of the stuff.
Yeah.
And then, I guess, again, was manifesting or making up this whole thing so that he could establish his reputation as an ace detective.
Yeah. And, you know, if that is a blackmail letter for Atmey, he could easily have gone in and planted it because he would have searched his room as the detective and
The
planted
ace detective.
it. Yeah, because it doesn't, yeah.
Well, how else would he have known that it was in Ron's house, right?
Yeah,
Because he was the one who
exactly,
told us it was there.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you read this, Taylor? Sorry.
Yes, he did.
Yes.
Cool.
With impressive alliterative skill, I might add.
Of
It was
course.
very impressive. Nick, he's getting his second wind.
If he prepared an alibi and pinned his crime on Ron Delight, as you say, he must have had a very strong motive for murder. The only one with any motive we've seen is Ron Delight. Isn't that
number
right,
13?
Detective?
Is that cup of coffee number 13?
Can't remember if it's 12 or 13. I've lost count now.
I can't remember things. Who the heck is this guy?
Indeed. According to my own research, the boy's motive is clear. Not that I'm a particularly biased party in this particular instance.
Without a motive, it's nearly impossible to prove guilt in a murder case. Now then, maybe you can enlighten us as to what the defendant's motives were.
I'd be honored to, Sir Old-Timer.
I like that the ring keeps on glinting as
Yeah.
like, hey, look at me,
look
at me, over here.
Look. Look, I'm relevant.
They're doing everything they can to make Ron look suspicious. Despite our lack of hard information, this may be our only chance. Okay. Wasn't expecting there to be another crossing.
I, Luke Atmey, I, Luke Atmey, had no points of contact with the victim whatsoever. Kane Bullard decided to investigate Mask Star to Mask and simply mistook who he was. It was Mr. Bullard who wrote the blackmail letter and sent it to Ron Delight. And it was again Mr. Bullard who harbored a grudge against Mr. Delight for his betrayal. Mr. Bullard's mistake is quite excusable. The defendant truly believes he is Mask Star to Mask. That is why Mr. Delight saw it fit to kill Kane Bullard. Truly a tragedy.
So the victim, Kane Bullard, blackmailed the defendant? This is the blackmail letter found in the defendant's apartment. A handwriting test confirms that Mr. Bullard was indeed the one who wrote the letter.
What?
Very well, Mr. Wright. Begin your cross-examination. Yeah, we definitely got to press this one. Nothing kind of jumped out at me, except this.
I say I've got an inkling because, yeah, if there was the newspaper clipping, Atmey's in it. That's the tier of Eminon. After that, Ron kept receiving blackmail letters planning out heists, which he went and did. But Bullard had this in his office, so he's been keeping a track of what's been stolen here. So that's the tie, because all those other blackmail letters could have been coming from Bullard as well, and Atmey was sending them on to Ron. And maybe the red diamond isn't on there because that was the last one he needed to put on, and he knows that Atmey's got it, so he's then
Well, the first point of contact has got to be the article there, right? Because he had no points of contact whatsoever, but Ron was working for KB Security at the time. So logically, he would have had at least some contact, right?
Yeah, it's either going to be there's got to be something to do with the newspaper clipping and probably the list of items which they were in his office.
And who in the world is going to prove that?
I will. After doing a thorough background check of Detective Atmey and Kane Bullard. Wait, but isn't the victim in this case Kane Bullard, not Ron Delight, that he's talking about? Victim as in murder victim, not defendant. You know when it said, like, no point of contact between him and the victim?
No, it's
Yeah.
Atmey.
No, I know, but KB Security is his company.
Yeah.
the heist... well, yeah, like... Obviously, like, Ron was on security detail, who works for KB Security, so... There's the link, but then there's a list of all the items that were stolen by Mask Stardamask in Kane Bullard's office.
Yeah.
So he's obviously worked something out and is blackmailing Atmey, who probably is then sending the blackmail letters on to Rob because he thinks he's Mask Stardamask.
You said this before. You said this before. We were unable to find any links between them. It's all in the report. Perhaps they were connected through their work. They were both involved in security. Nope. That was blunt.
In any case, the only one with a motive was Mr. Delight.
And we took it, and Phoenix took a copy of that list without anyone knowing.
Mistook?
That's right, mistook. From the Old Norse mistaka, meaning to take in error.
That wasn't what I meant.
Just who did the victim mistake Mask Stardamask to be?
Why, the answer is obvious. Ron Delight, of course.
Boy, I'd like to wipe that smug look off this guy's face. Press harder? Why would the victim mistake the defendant for Mask Stardamask?
Don't you already know that? Zwari, take a look at this newspaper.
Oh, that's the famous Tear of Emanon. A magnificent jewel.
That photo shows a magnificent detective as well, does it not? Furthermore, it also shows an ugly guard. Hey! Namely, the defendant.
The defendant?
The victim clearly misread this article and... Zvari? He got the wrong impression. The impression that this ugly security guard was in fact Mask Stardamask. Jeez, Luke.
Calm down, mate.
I see.
That was an unusually reasonable deduction.
Was it? See,
You mean this blackmail letter right here?
excuse me. It says, bring $50,000.
And the handwriting. Of course, it leaves out the relevant bit, which is the red diamond, which is what we want to press him on, but fine. And the handwriting is, without a doubt, the victim's.
There is no mistake. We have an official report to prove it. But I don't see an addressee on this letter anywhere.
An addressee?
This letter was discovered in Ron Delight's apartment. And Mr. Delight did show up at the designated place and time. The fact that there is no addressee is irrelevant.
I wonder.
What's up, Nick?
I just had a thought. What if that blackmail letter
There we go.
There we go. He's catching up with us.
It's like the little hamster in Nick's head is trying so hard.
It's like
So hard to keep that wheel spinning, but sometimes it's a little slower.
Whoa, do you have any evidence of that?
Not per se, except that you can just look at the frickin' dude.
Yeah.
For some reason, I just can't shake the feeling that there's something not quite right about this blackmail letter.
I think.
Well, everyone, are you quite satisfied, I say, displaying the red diamond ring very prominently towards the camera? Not a hint at all as to what you should indicate.
When did he say that it was red diamond? What was the... I can't remember when it happened. How did we find out
It's
again?
it's the blackmail.
No, he
letter.
said it's like as brilliantly as the red diamond that shines on my finger.
Oh yeah, it's
That was
right at the
it.
start of the
Yeah.
trial.
That was it. That was it. I just couldn't remember how we found out again because we haven't got physical evidence. Just-
So, Does that mean we go back and present the letter?
I'm not sure yet.
What do you mean by that?
Oh my, I was certain you were already aware. Zvadi!
Ron.
Oh, sorry. Stretching. KB Security has a lot of security. KB Security has a lot of security info on all sorts of companies. And since I was a security team chief, I stole data from the company.
Cain Bullard had yet to forgive young Mr. Delight. Which is why he sent him that letter upon mistakenly believing he was the thief.
Except none of this is relevant, because he doesn't have a red diamond or anything of the sort. And a red diamond isn't mentioned in that report either.
No.
Here is a file that we discovered in Mr. Bullard's office. Evidence that Mr. Bullard was receiving money through blackmail. However, isn't this a bit odd? Why did the defendant pay Mr. Bullard the money? Even though he wasn't actually Mask Star Damask.
On that point, there was an unfortunate bit of chance.
Okay. Do you really think that story is going to hold up?
That assertion is not merely my own, I'm afraid.
What do you mean?
I have here a memo from Mr. Delight's wife, Desiree Delight. Ronnie thinks he's Mask Star Damask. Don't you feel sorry for him? Please don't think too badly of him. Well, Mr. Trite. Well, Mr.
Is he
Trite.
trying to act like Ms. Delight just now?
Like, really badly.
I thought he was actually pretty convincing.
Well, I tried to make my impression really unconvincing.
Now that's just your imagination talking.
Come now, Sir Lawyer. I'm afraid imagination isn't the right word for it. This is a deduction, the result of carefully applied reasoning, not that you would know.
Can we hear that careful reasoning for ourselves?
No. It's a long story and better saved for another time.
Very well. Another time. Another time.
What? Those so-called long stories aren't usually all that long. At least not in my experience.
So you're going to try and connect Detective Atmey to Mr. Bullard, right?
Yeah, that's right. Hopefully it won't require surgery either. That's a weird thing to say, Nick.
In that case, you'll have to talk about blackmail.
That's true. Was that blackmail letter really intended for Ron?
Since we don't have enough information, you should press him for more testimony.
Maybe I'll be able to shake some contradictions loose that way.
So, now that we've mentioned... Oh no, I can say the whole thing about... We saw us being curious, wasn't it? Maybe let's try to investigate. So we must See, it's this, isn't it?
So it would have to be on that point, right? Where we present the letter and object and then be like, no, he didn't have a red diamond ring. You have a red diamond ring.
I would have thought so. Aha.
Well done, Taylor.
There
Well
we
done.
go.
Nice one.
Mind if I ask you a few questions, Detective Atmey?
Well, if it's just a few, then I guess it's all right.
When you said that this letter was addressed to Ron Delight, I couldn't help but notice one major contradiction.
Did he actually say it was addressed to him, or did he say that it was sent to him?
It was
Addressed.
sent, yeah, so I'm
Oh,
not
it's
sure
sent.
why he's saying it like that. Like, the being addressed is the contradiction, but whatever.
Contradiction?
I don't know where a walking contradiction like you gets off saying things like that.
You're one to talk.
At times like these, At times like these, men are made to express themselves with their fists. Why don't you show us what you got there, Junior? Indeed. Time to man up, Mr. Wright. Show us the contradicting evidence in the content of the blackmail letter.
They're gonna actually let us look at it?
Is it the list now?
Show us the contradicting evidence in the content of the blackmail letter.
Maybe that? Because it doesn't list the red diamond on it.
Yeah, fuck it. Ha! A little 2-1 punch like you, sorry, like that wouldn't even faze me.
I think you mean 1-2 punch.
Mr. Wright, try thinking things through a little more before finding fault with others.
Okay. What?
This is obnoxious, because it's like you know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I suppose,
It's just a matter of how you sit.
I suppose as well, the address thing was, just to mention, yeah, was sent it to Ron Dillon. But yeah, okay, so...
Okay, maybe we can present the picture of Atmey.
Oh, yes, is it... Oh, wait. You might have a point.
Yeah.
Hang on, did he actually have... That is... Shit, what hand...
No, I meant like the profile picture, but maybe that. I don't know.
No, but I wondered if he had the, if he had the ring by then. It might not be relevant. Ha!
No.
No.
Oh gosh, darn it. Yes, it's on that hand.
Can we,
it's that hand.
Can we just
Look at
present the letter again?
No, look at his hand. It's got the gem on it. It's got the ring. But on here,
and that one doesn't, yeah.
Maybe that's relevant? I don't know if it's really relevant to this quite like that, but...
Well, the list would coincide with, like, all of the things up until then. Wouldn't it? Because the blackmail letter started after that case.
We already presented that.
No, I know. I wanted to... Sorry, I didn't mean to click on that. I wanted to look at... I don't know if it's relevant. No.
Oh!
There we go.
Well done.
Nice.
But I don't understand
Take a
how
good look at this new...
I'm not quite sure how it's a Oh, kick the microphone. I don't know quite sure. I'm not quite sure how it's the contradiction to the blackmail letter, though. So I'll be interested to see.
I mean, I guess it's specifically the red ruby ring you received the other day. Instead, he didn't have one in that photo. He has one now, so it couldn't have been addressed to Ron because
Ron doesn't.
He didn't have her. I don't know.
Maybe
take a good look at this newspaper clipping.
Yeah, it could have been that, like, yeah, Cain Bullard's seen the clipping. Obviously, that doesn't depict him wearing a ring.
Okay. It contains a picture of the Tear of Eminon, the stolen jewel.
What about it?
Yes, what about it, Phoenix? What?
Oh, don't say, like...
Holy hell, we're going on a tangent.
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
The problem is this jewel's color.
Color? I'm not much for discussing color myself.
On account of the fact that this visor tints everything red. According to the clipping, the color of the stolen... Okay, so he's like a step behind, right? It's going to be like, so it couldn't have been this diamond, so what diamond could it have been? Or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
According to the clipping, the color of the stolen jewel was blue. However, in the blackmail letter, a totally different jewel is mentioned. I'll take that red diamond you received the other day.
Red?
Which means the red diamond described in the blackmail letter is not the Tear of Eminon that Mask Star Damask stole at all.
And your point is... No, wrong voice. That's the judge. And your point is, Mr. Trite? So, you were trying to say that this blackmail letter was intended for someone else? That is what you're trying to say, right? Try it. That is what you're trying to say.
Okay, now is
Right,
it going to
try-
ask us who it was meant for, and then we select Atmey?
Yeah. That is what you're trying to say. That is what you're trying to say, right? Mr. Wright?
Well, is that what you're trying to say?
No, it's not. Is
Right,
that?
Nick?
It's not. Is that? Is that? Is.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we all have to say it.
Ah!
And we've all messed it up.
Well, that is what you're trying to say, right, Nick?
Yes. This is who Kane Bullard was. Okay.
Okay.
For crying out loud. Naturally, it was you, Detective Atmey. What? Huh? Do you have some sort of basis for that claim? You have been personally involved in every single Mask Star to Mask case. And in the last case, you recovered what was stolen. And received a jewel
Oh.
as your reward.
There we go.
I forgot about that
I
bit.
forgot about that.
A jewel?
Probably the one wrapped conspicuously around your finger. That red diamond ring!
Knew it.
That is the diamond referred to in the letter. Which means that Kane Bullard wrote that letter in order to blackmail you.
Ah! Order! Order in the court! Order, I say! It seems you've gone too far with your childish pranks, Mr. Trite.
Uh-oh. I don't like the way he said that.
Kane Bullard blackmailing Luke Atmey? Are you for real?
Yes, I am.
Nick, come on, stand up to him.
Then answer me this. The blackmail letter contains the following passage. If you don't want your identity revealed to the world. Yes, it certainly does. Kane Bullard threatened to make Luke Atmey's identity public knowledge. So yeah, this is what I was getting at before. I'm not quite sure what his identity is.
I think it's going to be Mask Star to Mask, right? Because he was
Well-
essentially orchestrating everything.
An identity he wanted to keep a secret. So just what was that identity?
Atmey killed Kane Bullard because he was afraid of his secret becoming known.
Unless, as you say, it is quite literally that his identity is that he is not an ace detective.
What was the identity he wanted to keep secret?
Safety safe.
But, as it turns out, the identity he wanted to keep secret is something that we'll have to wait until next time.
Ah,
Sacrilege.
proper cliffhanger. But we must know.
We must know indeed. I'm actually quite annoyed because I kind of want to find out.
Yeah.
So, curse you!
Curses time.
Curse time.
Well, you'll just have to tune in next time with the rest of the audience.
I just have to record it and then forget.
Yeah.
And then rewatch it.
So it'll be about 5 minutes after you're done editing then?
Yep. So yeah.
Yep.
So with that, that's been us.
Yep.
We hope you enjoyed. We've had a lot of fun doing it. Well, I say a lot of fun. We've had mostly a lot of fun doing it. But there were a couple of moments there where it was really like, what the heck are you doing, game? But no.
I will say, I love this series. I adore the series, and I adore being able to play it. But there are some times where it's like you just kind of want to reach through and just kind of strangle the game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And just kind of shake it. Just like, why don't you make sense?
Why do you have to go all around the houses
But
to
that-
get to the answer?
But that being said, it is a lot of fun, and
Yes.
it does hold quite a dear place in my heart. So, anyway, we hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe. Do you know that as of this recording, we have essentially no subscribers? Can you imagine that? 0% of our viewers are subscribers. So, why don't you hit that subscribe button and help us turn that around a little bit? That'd be really nice.
Take us on a journey.
Take us on a journey of discovery and justice. And yes, also if you do hit the subscribe button, if you ring the little bell, then you'll get notified of when we release new content. So you can keep on top, which would be awesome. And
you can do an optional happy dance if you want as well.
Optional.
Yeah.
Optional.
Well, you keep telling them it's optional, so I guess I'm gonna have to give in now.
Some people just don't like dancing. You know, and I don't feel like...
Alright, you can do whatever makes you happy.
Yeah, do what makes you happy. There you go. Ring the bell and do what makes you happy. And so with that, it's time for us to get off. So once again, thanks a lot, and yeah, see you next time.
See you later.
It's been an honor and a privilege.
Take care, everyone.